and that'll publish the stream. We can go ahead and, so anybody who has received the link, and now you can see this is off because it caught up. So let's start with it right there. And the only thing we don't want to do is end the stream before we're done. Once you end the stream, it's over. We have to create a stream. It's not like for us for this stream. We have to resend it out. So anyway, so we're just going to leave this as it is. And then I'm just going to have you, I'll be kind of hanging out with you, but I'm going to have you operate the camera. So go ahead and grab, you can sit or you can stand, whatever you prefer, it doesn't matter. But if you want to just grab the handle and just, you can look in the viewfinder and just get a kind of feel of how slow you have to move it to make it.
Look in the screen?
Yeah, you can go ahead and center that screen. Perfect. That looks great.
Should we move it back?
And then go ahead and go back. Now the one thing to remember is there's a microphone here, and you can see I'm going to tap on this. You can see how that meter right there jumps. So microphone number 2 is, just double check. Yeah, so this one is the internal mic, and the other one is the mic we have down on the podium.
Okay.
And that's coming through this receiver right here.
Yeah.
And so it's connected because you can see that there's a battery indicator and you have antenna reception right here. So we know that that's working. But remember, this mic is going to the stream. So even our conversation right now is going live to the stream, which is okay for right now. But during the show, we want to make sure we're quiet and not say anything. So it doesn't go out to all the parents. So, and that's about it. So Mr. Hale is going to be conducting. He has the PowerPoint all built on his laptop.
Yeah.
There's about 9 presenters, but they'll use his computer, so we don't have to change anything up there.
Okay.
So really all we have to do is make sure the stream is good. And what I'll do is once we get started, I'll pull the stream up on my phone and listen on my headphones and make sure it sounds good. And then we may need to make some audio adjustments to it, but I'm hoping this little microphone they take down there will make it pretty good. So we'll see what happens.
Nice.
Cool? Any questions?
No.
Okay, awesome. So we start in about 10 minutes. So if you want to just kind of get comfy up here, I'm going to go grab my headphones, make sure everybody's good, and then I'll come back up. Awesome? Okay, perfect. gonna, unfortunately, it's gonna buffer like that. Our internet is just, we're working on getting a hard line in on up here, which will make it much better. But the Wi-Fi here is just really challenging. So we'll get that error, and that's okay.
Okay.
So if it's not fine, it's the best we can do. Not sure what else to do.
Folks, we're going to get started in about 30 seconds. So please go ahead and find your seats. And would you all go ahead and give me a nice big round of applause to send a clear signal to those out in the hall that we're about to begin. Thank you. We'll go ahead and time that with the end of that song. Welcome, my name is Chase Hale. I am the principal of the American Fork campus of American Heritage School. We often like to specify the campus these days because we have not one but 3 campuses. Our Salt Lake campus opens next Tuesday for the first time. We will open to a student body of about 120 students, and of course we have our distance education program that's blessing students worldwide. Thank you for being here. This is the first of 2 all-parent meetings that we require our parents to participate in, to attend. We welcome not only the audience that is here with us, but also a live audience that is watching through a streaming link, or those who will watch that same recording on a daily basis. I also want to recognize just a few people that are here with us tonight. First, our head of school, Brent Beckwith. Head of school is more or less a superintendent over our 3-campus system. And then we have various members of our board of trustees with us tonight. I may have missed 1 or 2 as they snuck in, but I see Janine Miner, our chair-elect, and Shannon Brown, also a member of our board of trustees. We'll be hearing from both of them a little bit later, and also Mary Kay Ware is with us tonight. We're going to go and get started with a pledge of allegiance that will be led by Mr. Ty Crossley, a 7th grade teacher at the school. We will then proceed to our opening song. Dan will get on that in a minute. Our opening song is Children of Liberty, our school anthem. That will be accompanied by Emily Halverson and conducted by Rob Swenson. And following the song, we'll hear an opening prayer by Jenny Burr. And we'll go to that point. Ty.
I just walked in, I was singing and leading the pledge, right? Okay. Would you please stand and recite the pledge of allegiance with me? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Just in case you don't have our school song memorized, can you stand and join me, please?
to be gathered here together as a community of parents at American Heritage School. We are grateful for this institution and the blessing it is in our lives. We're grateful for the administration who works so hard to support the parents and teachers and the great love that they have for us. We are grateful for their diligence and care. Father, we're grateful for the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're grateful for a unified love that we have for our Savior. We pray that this year, as we embark on a new experience with each of our children, that we will be blessed with hope and with resilience, and with a great love and determination to help them succeed and to find hope and faith in their journeys. We're grateful again for our many blessings and pray that thy Spirit will be here to attend all of us this evening, and we do so in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
One housekeeping item before I start to announce a little bit of our program tonight. For those of you who are new, we have a series of what we call foundational texts here at the school that we have you read just once, but for every new family we have you read those. They are here. I won't go into the details of each of these, but just know that we did try to order these and have them printed and prepared in time for tonight. We had delays with shipping, with printing, and you can look forward to receiving a little tote bag when we get to parent-teacher conference next month. So we are sorry about that, but just want to let you know that that is coming. Okay, this is our agenda for tonight. We're going to hear first from Katie Lawyer, our wonderful, talented, and dedicated Parent Service Organization president. And she's going to be followed by two members from our Board of Trustees. First, we'll hear from Shannon Brown. She'll give us our Development Committee report, and then we'll have a message from Janine Miner, who will actually be introduced by our head of school, Grant Beckwith, when we get to that point. Katie. She really is that dedicated. She's probably still in center court. We're going to go ahead and jump to Shannon Brown right now and have her start with her presentation, if that's okay, Shannon. And then we will come back and get Katie as soon as she walks in.
I'm trying to adjust this without ruining the connection. So my name is Shannon Brown, as he said, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees here. I'm also a parent, so I've had two kids graduate from the school, and I have a daughter who's in 10th grade here. So I've been here, I guess, 8 years, moved up here just to be in the school. So we love it so much. So I'm representing myself as well as Barbara Tanner, who's our advancement director, and she just wanted me to express her disappointment in not being able to be here tonight, but her love and gratitude to all those who have given their generosity and support this past fiscal year in our fundraising efforts. So I just wanted to start tonight by answering this question, hopefully in a matter of minutes. But if you can see down here, I said, I just gave you my tuition check, why are you asking me for more money? So I thought, maybe let's just go over how this financial thing works here at the school in a nutshell, right? So our advancement office is what Barb's in charge of. She's a professional, comes from LDS Philanthropies, many years of experience, and so talented. So you can see as a Board of Trustees, we have a strategic plan, and as the word implies, the advancement is to advance or move forward our future and our ongoing progress as a school. And then in collaboration with our admissions office, our Marcom office, and the development office, all of those collaborate to work together to implement and bring in the kinds of families that are mission fit, and we will support our culture and our mission. And then my job under Barb is as a development chair. So you can see here, to bring this strategic plan into fruition, we need funds and we need friends, right? So think of this as the philanthropic arm of the school. And so in that vein, we put on some really great fun events as a community to build the community, and then also we ask for you to contribute as well. So I have really bad eyesight, so I can't see the little text up here on my readers. So we have what's called an annual fund. And that is something that we do every year, and that money is to raise scholarships for students. So there's a lot of those are teachers' children who go here, so that's called a teacher tuition remission. And that helps them to be able to have their children at the place where they work. So that is a great opportunity for us to support our teachers who give so much to our own children by offering them tuition. And so the annual fund is scholarships as well as teacher bonuses. So there again, I'll mention later, we have a silent auction that helps to raise money for the teacher bonuses and another way to show our gratitude. So, okay, so that annual fund, we are so grateful. This past year, we were able to raise $850,000 with your help. So that was fabulous. We met our goal and are so grateful. This year, that annual fund will be $1.2 million that we're going to raise. And so there again, we need your help. And, you know, it's just so many more students we're so grateful for, more teachers, but that also means more scholarship money. Another thing we've introduced last year was what was called the Endowed Scholarship Fund. And so that endowment is something that will perpetuate year after year, and the beauty of compound interest is that hopefully we will be able to then send down the annual fund at some point. So we are looking for a really large principal gift that then would allow us to put that money in the bank, and it will start to kick off the interest we need to fund these scholarships. So that's where we're at. We had several $100,000 that went into the bank this year for that endowed scholarship fund, so that's wonderful. Okay, so let's talk about some of the fun events that we have coming up. Okay, I talked about this, the culture of giving. So we have, your service hours that you do. That's your time and talents that you give, but then this endowment and the scholarships are part of the material resources that we also ask for. So when you think about, we have your tuition that pays for the operating costs. We have the building fund, which is totally separate. Those are people that donate money to help build the buildings that we have. So we have no state, federal, or local funding, which allows us to say prayers and do the things that we value AHS for. And we have no debt. So then, like I said, we have this other part, which is the part of the giving that we ask on top of that. And I had this image in my head earlier today about, if you're LDS, you'll understand the tithing slip, right? You see the tithing, and there's like the fast offering, and then there's these other things like humanitarian aid, and Book of Mormon Fund, and the Temple Fund, and the Missionary Fund. So those are kind of the things that development does, okay? Okay, so let's talk about this fun event we have coming up. On September 15th, which is a Thursday, we have what's called Constitution Day Festival. And this has been a tradition now for several years, and it's a huge back-to-school party, but we focus it around our patriotic vibe that we have here. We have people dressed as colonial actors and artisans, and they will take the children in rotations during the day, and then at 5 o'clock, come back with your whole family and friends, and just out here on the field, we have food trucks, we have games, we have fireworks at the end, which are going to be really fun. So it's just an opportunity to get to know people here in the school community and to build our connections as friends. And then you can see this is not just a one-day thing. We've expanded this into an entire homecoming weekend. So about 11 years ago, we had our first graduating class of high school students. And so when we say this is for alumni, we want to think more broadly, because that was a very small group of 20-something kids, right? So if you're somebody who had a child that went here from maybe 6th grade to 11th grade, you're still part of our alumni, right? If you went here, in the chapel school years ago, like Laura and her sisters, you're still an alumni of American Heritage School. So this is a barbecue on Friday, and then we invite you to come back for a constitutional debate from 5 to 6, which will be in the North Auditorium here. And then there'll be some preliminary tournament games going on from 4:30 to 6:30, and that will be, the culmination of that will be at 7 o'clock. We would invite the whole school community to come back. We'll be in the huge Patriot Arena, and we have a basketball game for the winners of that preliminary round. And we've got got the BYU slam dunk team that's going to come and do the halftime show, so that'll be really fun. And of course, we have concessions to sell. Then on Saturday, you can see this is alumni coming back again if they want to use the campus, and then that night is the homecoming dance that your students who are 16 and up will probably want to attend. So we have a full weekend, and just invite you to come, and it's only $5, if you can believe that. So we try to keep the prices low to encourage you all to come. You can look at this QR code and get on and get your tickets now, or you can go to the events tab on our main page and buy tickets there. So 3 and under are free, and then if you wanted to buy something at the food truck, obviously that's extra. If you wanted to buy any spirit apparel, that's extra, and the concessions at the basketball game are extra, but otherwise, all included. So super fun. The last thing that I usually do in the spring is this family dance, and so this is another tradition that we brought back a few years ago, and it's really fun. We invite all the kids and all the parents to come, grandparents, and just dance and let your hair down together. So this will be an out-of-this-world dance party, and we usually have refreshments, and they're again $5 a person. So save the date on this one. This one's going to be March 25th, and we hope to see you there. If you have any questions after, I'll be just standing up here. You're welcome to come talk to me. And then I'm going to go back up here. If you wanted to email btanner@ahsmail.com. If you have any resources that you feel you could give, we don't obviously know all of you personally, but it would be so helpful if you could reach out to us and say, hey, I've got a business, I'd love to help donate to the silent auction at the family dance. Or if you get on Veracross and update your information, we could see what your resources are, because we know a lot of people, but otherwise we're just kind of guessing, and we would really love to get to know. If you feel like you have the capacity and this is a cause that resonates with you, please reach out. Thank you.
It's so good to be with you. 11 years ago, while doing an internet search, I happened across the American Heritage School website. The phrases Christian character and faith-based education drew me in instantly. My heart was touched as I read the school's mission describing a partnership with parents to educate both mind and heart. I instantly texted my husband and told him about my new discovery. On his way home from work, he stopped by the school. It happened to be the exact time of a parent orientation, so he quietly snuck in the back, just in time to catch an orientation video explaining the mission of the school, and his heart, too, was touched. I'll never forget his phone call to me. Full of excitement, he said, "Do you know what this school does? It's amazing. It aligns with everything that we want to teach our children." At that time, we had 3 young children and 1 on the way. We'd recently just moved, and we just started a new business, and there were many unknowns with that. But he said, "I will do whatever it takes for our children to come to American Heritage School." This year, we begin our 10th year, and this school continues to be one of the greatest blessings in our families' lives. The mission of the school supports us as parents. Exceptional teachers continue to challenge students academically and also inspire them to realize their divine potential. American Heritage teachers have been some of our children's greatest mentors. What is your American Heritage story? Well, in talking with many of you over the years, and especially visiting with our new families this year, I have been so humbled by your stories of sacrifice to be here. I have learned that many of you have recently moved homes, some families have moved states, and several have even changed careers for your family to be here. This because your hearts, too, were touched. Our parent community at this school is incredible. You share your time and your talents and serve in quality ways. As parents, we're all members of the Parent Service Organization. Our purpose is to partner with teachers and administrators to advance the mission of the school. This partnership creates such an incredible unity and synergy. These wonderful parents here currently serve on the PSO board, and they too have stories of sacrifice and gratitude for American heritage. We help organize opportunities to serve, and we invite you to visit the PSO webpage to sign up for events throughout the year. In the last 10 years, I have learned that the more you get involved with your child's education experience, the more gratitude you will feel for your teachers and administrators, and the more you will want to give back. This year, as my children come home from school, after the usual conversations about how did your day go, I've been impressed to ask a specific question. What touched your heart today at school? I have loved their responses. It's given me more insight into what a heart and mind education looks like. I'd like to end by sharing a story that my 4th grader gave in response. She said, "My teacher showed the class a picture of Jesus with children surrounding him. She told us to look at the different expressions on their faces. One child in the picture is smiling, ready to learn. Another child's expression has a face like he's just not quite sure yet. Another girl in the picture has a peaceful face. My daughter then declared, 'Mom, I am like the peaceful girl, because when I'm at school, I really feel peace.' In a world where peace is harder to find, where truth is lost in opinion, and where parents are distanced more and more from the classroom, I am so grateful for American Heritage School, where the vision is to assist families to realize their divine potential. I look forward to another great year of partnership, full of experiences that will continue to touch our hearts and add to each of our family's own American heritage story. Thank you.
Well, you all came tonight. You know you have an online option, right? Just looking around here. If you want to come in we've got lots of seats over here. This is a great time to file in. So let me just introduce here. Dan Burton is our chairman of the Board of Trustees for the last year, and we have a system whereby we have a chairman-elect who will learn and be tutored from until she takes the reins. Janine Miner will be doing that next year, and so you'll hear a lot from Janine this year. She starts to take this podium and microphone. Janine has been at the school with her family for well over 15 years. All 4 of her children have graduated from American Heritage. 2 of them, I think she'll tell this story, have married classmates or are going to marry classmates. She has a deep and rich experience of her own in liberal arts and music. She is a mother who knows what mothers and fathers need at home in a very important way. Our board is comprised of many experienced leaders in the community, in the home, in academia, and she is one of those that has a lot of that across all sectors. Her husband Curtis was a board chairman here many years ago, and they are the proprietors, the owners of the firm that constructed or architected this campus as well as our Salt Lake campus. So without further ado, let's give a big round of applause for Janine Miner.
Oh my goodness, thank you, Grant. I appreciated hearing Katie's story about how she and her family found American Heritage School. That is one of my favorite things is, as I talk to fellow members of our American Heritage family, is to find out their American Heritage story. Curtis and I were actually introduced to American Heritage in 1998. We were a young couple. We'd only been married about 5 years. We had a toddler and a baby when Curtis was asked to put in a proposal as a possible plan for what would be the new campus of American Heritage School to be located across the street from the Mount Timpanogos Temple. Of course, American Heritage was founded in 1970, And at that time, it was in the old chapel in Pleasant Grove. And as trying to come to understand this project better, he visited the school over at Pleasant Grove in that old chapel. And neither one of us will ever forget that day. Because when he came home, he was so pensive. And so much that I stopped what I was doing and said, "How was your day?" And he said, which I would ask usually, but not quite as seriously. You could just tell something was on his mind. And he said, "So I visited this school today, and I've never seen or felt anything quite like it." And so just kind of teasing a little bit, I said, you felt the school? And I very seriously said, "Yes, I did." And we proceeded to explain what he had learned in just one single visit about American Heritage School, its mission, what was being taught, what the teachers were like, what the students were like, what the administration was like. And we started at that time to do everything that we could also to get ourselves in a position so that someday, hopefully, our children, our future children, will be able to attend American Heritage School and be able to have, that we could have that experience to help our family. By 2005, we were able to enroll, and I can't accurately express our gratitude for the difference it's made for our family. All four have graduated, and as Grant said, just the friendships that have been forged with everyone here, it really is a family at American Heritage School, including our daughter-in-law that graduated from American Heritage School, our soon-to-be son-in-laws of next week who graduated from American Heritage School, and our other son-in-law who was part of the orchestra. American Heritage Lyceum Philharmonic totally counts. So up here, I thought I'd talk a little bit about the organizational structure of American Heritage School, and you can see up there is the American Heritage Board of Trustees. So often when we talk about the board, if it's the Board of Trustees, that's what we're talking about. And then we have Grant, our head of school, Grant Beckwith, who everybody knows very well, and we respect and admire greatly, who works with our three impressive and very capable principals with the American Fork, Salt Lake City, and the worldwide campuses. It might also be helpful to know sometimes when we refer to board, there's the Board of Trustees, and then there are advisory boards for each of the campuses. And this is really helpful because each campus is very important and is well represented as advisors, and then the Board of Trustees makes the decisions regarding some of those things. One thing that is important to note is that we do have a head of school that sits on the advisory boards for all of those campuses, which really helps there to be a great unity and understanding and a good cohesion between all the groups. I did want to just take a minute to note something about the Salt Lake campus and the American Heritage Worldwide. We're very thankful for these campuses. They really are an integral part of our mission, and they're not a distraction. There's actually a great synergy that happens between all of us. We've made new friends as we've taken really this movement of what American Heritage is and what it stands for. Can you just imagine if you lived so far you couldn't come to American Fork, north of Salt Lake? I know some of you travel far, but what if we lived on the East Coast or far away? How would we educate our children? What a blessing it is to share this. Also, a note about our American Fork campus. As a board, I just want to welcome all of you new families. We are delighted at the growth that we're seeing and so many talents that you have. You're bringing and adding to ours. I just want to say hello to those of you that have been here a long time. Thank you for continuing to serve and for adding your wisdom and your experience, making things better. Do know that as a board, we're very mindful of the challenges of growth as well. And we are especially focused that our growth remains true to the mission of American Heritage School, and especially that it really keeps our culture of faith, and that we're continually striving to improve the ways that the Spirit can be felt in our classrooms. These are the members of our Board of Trustees. If you are a member of the board, will you stand up just for a minute so everybody can see who you are? Yes, thank you so much. So we've got Matt, Dr. Sperry, and David right here, Janet, there's Grant, and Katie, and Mary Kay, and Shannon, and Shannon, both Shannons. Also, I don't know, we have new trustees this year. We're so delighted to have their talents. So we wanted you to see their faces so you can get to know them. This is Hal Boyd, Shannon Norton, who's here, and Mary Kay Ware. We welcome her back. She's served before, and we're glad to have her great talent and experience back with us again. Also, since this is the American Fork campus, we thought you might be interested on the American Fork Advisory Board. There are members of the Board of Trustees who serve on that, as well as parents, who we appreciate very greatly. And these are three of our new American Fork Campus Advisory Board members, Kurt Brown, Joe Hansen, and Ralph Vanderbeek. We greatly appreciate their help. Yes, thank you. I did, just in speaking a bit about the board, I wanted to just let you know how humbled I am to be a part of this board. It really is a group of talented and intelligent, impressive, and just sincerely good people of so many varied backgrounds. We have people who are experts in legal, financial, medical, educational, and other professions. We have all kinds of people from CEOs of multi-million-dollar companies, just people like me with 16 years experience as a room mom, and at American Heritage helping with whatever activities the children seem to be involved in. I want you to know that as a board, we really work well together. We have a lot of love and a lot of respect for one another. And even when we're discussing very difficult issues, we always leave our meetings feeling very, very, very inspired. I think that our greatest joy in our work as a board is to create a solid mission-based foundation so that our amazing teachers and administrators can build on that foundation and feel supported and feel empowered to do the very most important work which happens here. And that's the work that's one-on-one with each of our students and families. I want you to know that as a board, we have the deepest respect and appreciation for the administration, for Grant as head of schools, and the administrative teams at each of the three campuses. What a pleasure it is to work with them and learn from them. Some of the most inspiring people I've ever met. We also, as a board, have the deepest respect and appreciation for our teachers. Isn't it something to have teachers who really strive to see the divine potential in each student, to help them learn and to grow and be useful in the hands of the Lord in furthering His work and for making a real difference for good. Excuse me. My college children, it was when they got to college that they learned that it's not typical to have teachers, let alone administrators, from other schools and public schools who know you, who are real friends, who remember your name and know about you and genuinely care about you, who are real mentors. And what a blessing and strength that is for them to have that. It's incredibly, incredibly remarkable. As a board, we're also thankful for you parents. As all of you know, American Heritage is a family experience. And it's something you don't just drop off the kids. We work together and we serve together and we live together. It's because every single one of us doing our part, whatever that is, on the board, as parents, administrators, and teachers to help this happen. In our last most recent board meeting, each of us were given this book, The Spirit of Revelation by David A. Bednar. And as I was reading through that, something that stood out to me is when Elder Bednar starts talking about what understanding is. And he cites the scriptures when they talk about real understanding comes from not just the mind, but also the heart. He says, the scriptures tell us, apply thine heart to understanding. It's Proverbs 2:2. This verse is interesting because typically we think of understanding things cognitively and rationally with our minds. But as we know in our mind, but as what we know in our mind is confirmed as true in our heart by the witness of the Holy Ghost, then we are blessed with understanding. Thus, understanding is a revealed conclusion in spiritual gifts. There are lots of schools that teach knowledge, facts, information, trivia. The one thing that's unique is to be seeking real truth and seeking the Spirit to help us understand what really matters and how to apply it in our lives. He goes on, you or I, as a speaker or teacher, can play an important role in helping a student to understand in their minds. Of greater importance, however, is the willingness of the learner to soften and open his or her heart so that the Holy Ghost can bear witness of what has been taught. We need to teach, testify, and talk about the gospel in ways that invite the Holy Ghost to confirm the truthfulness of the things that are said and seen. Pressing forward with faith on the journey from the mind to the heart by the power of the Holy Ghost is the beginning of understanding. That's what we do at American Heritage School. That's what we do as we focus on our mission to really educate minds and also hearts and learn what really matters most and how to apply them in how we live our lives. Again, as a board, we just feel it's such a great honor to work with this administration of all three campuses, teachers, and parents, and the students in this great cause of educating hearts and minds. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shannon and Katie and Janine. Well, if you think American Heritage School is a great place to have your children educated, and that this is a wonderful environment in which to be, imagine how amazing it would be to work here. I get to work here, and I work with, I believe, the most amazing people in the world. And it's my privilege now to introduce you to 4 of them. These are people that I love and admire and rely on every day. These are our assistant principals here at the American Fork campus. Each one of them is going to share a little bit of a report to you on some of the highlights that we've accomplished in the last year, and do so in somewhat of a vignette style. We will hear first from Sharnae Adams, our elementary school assistant principal, followed by Blaine Hunsaker, who is the assistant principal for middle school and our performing arts programs. He will be followed by Elizabeth Acuna, our high school assistant principal, and then finally we'll hear from Dave Buer, who oversees athletics. Sharnae.
Have you ever been asked to do something that you feel is totally impossible? Perhaps it was driving a stick shift or putting in contact lenses. Many students who struggle academically subconsciously put up mental blocks which further inhibit learning. Our goal is to help them see that they can succeed. This year, we increased the hours of our reading intervention personnel. Secondly, Mrs. Trish Peel, who is our reading intervention department chair, is also this year our guided reading coach. And thirdly, we hired Mrs. Robin Merrill, the Spalding coach, who originally trained all of our AHS teachers on the Spalding method. She is able to increase the frequency with which teachers receive hands-on coaching, as well as individualizing and tailoring the coaching to the needs of each teacher. Let me share some quick examples of transformational moments in the lives of 2 of our students. A mom shared with us that as they strive to gain a seat at AHS, they discovered their son was behind in reading. She and her husband wanted their son to have access to our teachers who had been trained in Spalding and reading intervention. Over the summer, he attended intense reading instruction with Mrs. Peel. This mom continues, I was so impressed with the tender love and care that Mrs. Peel had for my child. She had amazing patience in teaching a busy little guy. With guidance and repetition and lots of practice, our son quickly started to show progress. It was like a light bulb was switched on in his little mind, and a belief in his heart that he could do hard things. Today he is in 5th grade. He is reading at a level higher than average for his age. Not only did he gain these tools necessary in learning, but he has a best friend for life at the school, a teacher who never stopped believing in him and instilled in him more than just an understanding of phonograms and reading, but a confidence in himself and his abilities, and a knowledge and belief that he can do hard things. Another family shared the following. Like every family, and you can relate to this, the COVID pandemic was hard on us. We experienced a long list of changes, and our move to Utah was on that list. In the process, our 5 children moved from public school to distance learning, to homeschool, to a different public school, to a private school, all before they landed at AHS. The school changes coupled with all the other changes and hardships had us overwhelmed. Our children were struggling, but one in particular was struggling more than the rest. He even repeated a year in a different school, and he hoped that this would help him. But unfortunately, his reading scores got worse as the repeated year went on. He struggled to read and had a hard time doing all other schoolwork because of it. His confidence tanked, and his positive attitude, specifically towards reading, was gone. He failed spelling test after spelling test, missed all the word problems in math, fought hard against doing his reading and spelling homework, and one day said to me, his mom, "Mom, I'm just not good at school, and I never will be." This broke my heart. I answered, "You're half right. You may not be good at it now, but you can be good at it. It's going to take a little hard work, and luckily you're good at working hard." He smiled because thank goodness he knew that he was good at working hard, and for the last 6 months he has worked so hard. The reading intervention program has been a game changer for him. He sees the reading intervention teachers as his friends. He loves them so much that he's happy to miss after-school playtime to go to extra tutoring. He has a stack of books by his bed at night that he reads and truly enjoys. We can sometimes hear him laughing at the funny parts. He set this up all on his own. 6 months ago, he had anxiety about the task of just choosing a book off the shelf. It overwhelmed him. It was a happy moment when I realized we've literally gone from reading with anxiety and tears to reading and laughing, and we're so grateful. His attitude towards school in general has changed as well. He's much more positive and confident. He believes in himself. He's not completely caught up yet, but with the reading intervention program, we're hopeful he will someday be there. We're big believers in this program and the teachers who teach it. We can't thank the teachers and the school enough for helping our son. One of our greatest strengths here at the school lies in our teachers' abilities to see your child, to know where they are at, to meet them there, and to elevate them. Not just in literacy, but in every area. We strive to ensure that your child grows in all areas, and more especially with a greater belief in themselves as they learn. This sets them on a trajectory of success, not only in school, but in life. Thank you.
Parents at American Heritage School, it's my honor to address you this evening and to share a glimpse of what I experience with your fantastic youth on a daily basis. I see teachers ministering and caring for your children, one by one. Last year as the middle school assistant principal, I was able to experience beautiful transformational experiences with the youth and the teachers that I work with. At American Heritage School, I experienced teachers counseling with parents and administrators to see how they can meet the needs of each one of their students that they teach. Teachers pray for their students individually and seek guidance, direction, and inspiration to help them learn and to grow. Teachers meet the students where they are at and help them to advance to the next level academically, socially, emotionally, and spiritually, one by one. One parent shared, "The teacher has taken the time to care about my daughter, but not just her schoolwork, how she's also doing emotionally. His understanding heart and encouragement have made all of the difference this year for her, one by one. The following example I share with permission of a middle school student and his parents. At American Heritage School, our work focuses on the one as we strive to reach the hearts as well as the minds of the students. One student was given some additional homework to complete before being able to be readmitted to American Heritage School in the fall. This was to help him demonstrate that his heart truly had been touched. He shared the following: "This next year comes with even more responsibility. I want to become an adult who can inspire others to pursue what they love. So I need to start improving my life now. I should hold myself to a high standard and live up to those standards because in reality, I want to be a leader," he says. "I enjoy being able to bring God into all of the lessons and to be able to pray freely without being judged. I enjoy the standards of the school because it is a straightforward path to success. I want to be successful, and in order to do so, I need to follow these standards, one by one." The heart work continues as youth participate in not only sharing their talents during the day, but also in the after-school choir and orchestra programs. Life-changing experiences happen one heart at a time. As youth share their personal experiences and testimonies, this summer, the after-school youth choir was able to tour, and their theme for their performances was "My Strength and My Song." They performed in various states, including Palmyra, New York, and Grace Church in Wellington, Delaware. Youth experienced Ellis Island, Washington's Crossing, Independence Hall, Philadelphia, the Palmyra Temple, priesthood restoration sites, and the Sacred Grove, just to name a few of the locations that they were able to visit. Each day on the bus, the students participate in devotionals prepared by Mr. Rob Swinson that inspire and uplift the hearts of these students, one by one. One participant shared with me that experiencing these places and being with these outstanding youth touched their own heart and inspired them to be better and to rely more on the Savior even more. I want to conclude my brief remarks tonight with quoting lyrics, again by Elder David A. Bednar, that describe how the Savior visited the Nephites in his account in 3 Nephi 17. And following his resurrection, both our after-school orchestra and after-school choir a few years ago had the opportunity to premiere this piece in the Salt Lake Tabernacle. As they sang, our hearts were touched. Our teachers draw their students to the Savior, who he is the one who ultimately helps them to feel of his love. And he gives them the power to become. Let me just read these lyrics in conclusion. One by one, Christ looked around him and saw their tears, one by one. In his compassion, he calmed their fears. Jesus Christ healed each one, brought forth unto him. Then he blessed each precious child and prayed for them. The angels descended from heaven above, encircling those little ones. Each felt his love, one by one. He intercedes for each daughter and son. Strength from his grace gives us power to become. What an honor and a privilege it is for me to be part of this work in ministering to each of the students one by one. Thank you.
The knowing and ministering to the one becomes especially apparent during senior week each year when we take the time to celebrate each of our students individually. These are pictures of our students on the senior trip, which we take for 3 days to St. George each year. While there, we stay in a large home together. We take time to swim, hike, cook, eat, play games, and enjoy each other. At the end of the trip, we have a special closing meeting at the St. George Tabernacle, where each senior can express their love for each other. Every senior who is on track for graduation gets to attend this event, which serves as both a reward for their amazing work and as an opportunity for us to reminisce about the many memories we have created together during their years at AHS. Additionally, it gives the students another opportunity to be surrounded by teachers, administrators, and friends who love them just before they leave our little haven of AHS. This is a picture of students at the end of an event during senior week called Senior Dinner. During this event, we enjoy dinner together with each senior and their parents. And each student receives an individual tribute written for him by a teacher who has been particularly close to that student. The tributes are read to the students one at a time as we celebrate each of their unique gifts. Finally, we enjoy short video clips that celebrate our senior class and highlight many happy memories together. The week culminates in commencement, where we take the time to recognize our seniors individually and applaud the accomplishments they have completed. We can do this because we know them. We know their families, their strengths, their pain, and their fears. In many cases, we have known them for many years. I contrast that to a large high school graduation I attended a few years ago. At the completion of calling seniors to come forward and receive their diplomas, the school realized that they had forgotten the names of a significant group of seniors, but they were unsure as to which ones. So they invited any to stand whose names they had forgotten to call. I realized at that time the beauty of celebrating the one that we enjoy here at AHS, where we truly know each student by name. One of the seniors who graduated last year, whose story is particularly meaningful to me, is Ellis Spott. Ellis started at AHS during his second grade year. While he is extremely intelligent, when Ellis came to AHS, he processed things slowly, and he struggled to write. The teachers worked with Ellis for years. They made accommodations when they could. They believed in Ellis, and they saw his amazing potential. By his senior year, Ellis, who had been an incredibly shy elementary middle school student, was in a school play and was serving on student council as a service representative. This is a picture of him leading the entire high school student body in completing a service project to tie paracord bracelets for servicemen. This is something none of us could have imagined was possible when Ellis first started at AHS. Because AHS cares about the one, we provide opportunities for each student to participate, grow, and experience new things. This includes our all-participation policy for sports and musicals. Here are pictures of Ellis playing tennis and on the chamber choir trip to Hawaii last year when he had the opportunity to participate there. And that shy boy who struggles so much to write was able to successfully complete his senior thesis. Here he is with Mrs. Hilmo on the day he defended that 20-page paper in front of an adjudicating panel for 20 minutes. Because AHS worked with Ellis, took him where he was, and continued to expand his horizons, we were able to accomplish amazing goals. Recently, when I asked Ellis's mom about his experiences at AHS, she said, quote, "American Heritage saved my child. We help save children here, working with you, because we will always see and love the one."
Wanted to take just a second to recognize our athletics administrative staff. Is Poda? I didn't see him. Poda is one of our assistant athletic directors, and I did see Yahosh, our athletic director. Wave, Yahosh. He's the heart of our athletic department. And his wife, Vanessa, is the woman who makes his heart beat the most. So thanks for all you do, Vanessa, to keep Yahosh in line. A few years ago, some of the most prominent names in Utah basketball approached American Heritage about starting an elite high school boys basketball program. They had seen the construction of Patriot Arena to our north. Such a program, they argued, would bring national attention to the school. It would compete for national championships. And they were right. Another private school in Utah has already demonstrated this formula works with a top-tier coaching staff, top-tier talent, and top-tier facilities. This was as close to a slam dunk venture as we could get. Forgive the bad basketball pun there. The only problem was it didn't fit. We were not interested in wins, though winning is nice. We were not interested in publicity, though publicity is helpful. Our overriding interest in athletics at American Heritage School is that they are used to build Christian character in our student athletes. For that to occur, we first need students who enroll at the school for our mission, not for our sports. We guard our culture very closely. People drive culture. So that means we are very careful about who we hire. For our unique culture to flourish, we must attract and retain people who share our mission to develop the hearts, minds, and bodies of students to realize their divine potential. To be clear, this school is full of imperfect people and students from top to bottom. But what unites us is that this shared vision for becoming is the most important goal. Maintaining momentum in the pursuit of this mission often means then that we say no to great opportunities just as much or even more than we say yes. That clarity about and strict adherence to our mission acts as a great filter. It attracts like-minded employees and families who desire to help push this mission forward. To illustrate, I'll end with another story about a different coach. His name is Stephen Blake. He's from Fiji. He was not affiliated with the school in any way a couple of years ago, but he would pass the south side of our campus each day as he ran errands. As he would drive past, he said he noticed that American Heritage students just looked so happy as they went home after school. One day he was backed up on the south side of campus next to the school when he saw a Polynesian man with a stop sign helping students at a crosswalk. "Hey brother," he called out, "how do you like this school?" "Oh man," came the response, "we love it. We're staying here forever." That man was Poto Winatana. Talk about a top-tier coach. He had just moved here with his entire family from New Zealand to be the head coach of our girls and boys basketball teams. So Stephen decided to learn more about the school. When he learned that the school infused the restored gospel of Jesus Christ into its curriculum, he knew where the students' joy was coming from. He wanted to be part of that school. When an opportunity came to apply to be the boys' varsity coach, he went for it. He was soon hired. Yes, Stephen's 8 years on the Fijian national and Olympic soccer teams were an important part of his qualifications to be the soccer coach, but they weren't the most important part. It was his recognition of soccer as a tool to build Christian character. Coach Blake is also helping the girls team this year, and he says a couple of weeks ago the Lady Patriots were down 5-2 against a 3A school, and they came back and won the match. He says he had never seen such an amazing comeback. He said, "These girls are going to accomplish whatever they put their minds to. It's their testimony and faith that keeps them moving forward no matter what." Coach Blake says all of that comes from great parenting, and as a coach, he just tries to reinforce it. And as a school, this synergy between parents, student athletes, and coaches is something we will say yes to every chance we get. Thank you.
I've been privileged to work at American Heritage now for 8 years, and the last year was my first year as principal. And during that first inaugural year in this new role, I had many people ask me, "So, how is it to be a principal?" Or some version of that question. And having been the school's business officer previously, I would often use that prior experience to contrast to answer that question, and I would often offer up little things like, well, it turns out that people are a lot more interested in data, or, people issues and problems are so much more fascinating than trends and patterns of numbers. And that is very true. Another way that I would answer that question is I would just say, the future is bright. I feel like I get to see the future every day as I walk the halls and I look at the growing or the rising generation. This picture that you see in front of you was taken at about 11,800 feet yesterday, right around 9:45-ish. This is the earliest of the summiters of our senior class. They are now in their 5th year of holding this tradition of going as a senior class to the top of that mountain. And I got up there with them, and one of them said, "Mr. Hill, can we climb on top of that structure?" And after a little bit of an internal wrestle, I said, "Yes, go do it. Go for it. In fact, I'm going to get a picture, and you're going to be prominently featured in tomorrow's parent meeting. So make it look good." My major takeaway from that event was the future is bright. It was beautiful to again have yet another experience where I got to walk and talk with youth who are not perfect and they make mistakes, and sometimes I, just like I'm sure parents, we can sometimes focus in on some of those issues and we just say, why can't you figure it out just yet? But when we pause and when we reflect and when we ask the question, how was I when I was their age? We have to conclude that they are far better than we were. And I had that experience again and again and again, walking that trail for hours with these wonderful youth. So I want to just thank you for a minute for being fantastic parents. It really makes our role here at the school a real joy. I've quoted here at the very start of this slide what I like to refer to as the opening assertion of our mission statement: American Heritage School assists parents. It is your job to raise your children. You will be held accountable at some point, as the Family Proclamation teaches us and as the Doctrine and Covenants teach us, for the execution of those duties. It is not our job. We cannot be your substitutes, but we do strive to be good complements and supplements to all the amazing things that you do in your homes. And we thank you for doing such a fantastic job. We see it every day as we welcome these students to our halls, as we are impressed by just how amazing they are, and as we learn from them as well. So thank you. You all deserve a big round of applause for the good that you're doing. I'm going to go ahead and blitz through fairly quickly a little bit of a safety update for you. We often take a lot of time in this meeting twice a year to talk to you about carpool protocols, and we're not going to do that today. Instead, I'm going to remind you, if you haven't seen it yet, in our weekly school-wide email, there's a link to a video that we've created. It's about 6 minutes long, and if you are a little bit frustrated these first 2 weeks with just how log-jammed carpool was, please go watch the video and learn a little bit about some of the best practices to help make that smoother. Usually the first 2 weeks are a little bit of a logjam until people figure out what to do to help that go a little bit better. Next, physical access controls. This was one of our deliverables that we said we would do after we did a lot of listening in the aftermath of the Uvalde tragedy last year. We reconvened our Safety and Security Committee. We brainstormed with the best minds in that group, people who include law enforcement professionals, FBI, search and rescue, active and former police officers, including our own Director of Security, who himself was a school resource officer, a 20-year veteran of law enforcement, a member of a SWAT team. And we decided that we were going to continue to reinforce one of the best practices that had ever been shared with us, which was physical access control. Many of you have probably bumped into this new step. It has been having some problems, we know. The firm that did all the installation is not only working on this campus, but also our Salt Lake campus, which has some critical path issues to open next Tuesday. So we've instructed them to focus on that and to come back and remediate some of these challenges second. So we appreciate your patience, and there is light at the end of the tunnel there. The last item that I want to mention as far as a safety update is our full participation policy. For those of you who are new, we have a full participation policy in our after-school activities. that we will create more teams, more roles, more ensembles, more opportunities to accommodate the demand that we have for our students to participate in choir, orchestra, basketball, tennis, you name it. What does that have to do with safety? Well, first let me just share with you a couple of statistics here. Last year, this was the midpoint last year, right around January was when I shared these statistics with our faculty. 49% of our junior class was involved in some performing art pursuit. 50% were involved in athletics. 50%. I'm not aware of too many schools that can boast that kind of statistic. Usually the teams and the plays are really just for the few who make the cut. Again, what does this have to do with safety? Well, we live in an era where emotional and mental health crises are continuing to grow and grow and grow and are at an epidemic proportion. And we have a host of responses to that. We have counseling resources. We have various other things that we do to work with those situations. But first and foremost, we will always strive to preempt and prevent. And after school participation is a very important lever we use in that pursuit. We want our youth to be sweating. We want them to be struggling in groups. We want that struggle to eventually result in overcoming together and celebrating together in social scenarios that are healthy, that are typified by very positive peer relationships and excellent mentors, exemplary mentors. So, we're very proud of that. This is not a school where we just create programs for the top 1% of our students who again make the cut. Rather, we're trying to create opportunities for the 90 and 9 to participate. I've never seen this movie all the way through, but I assure you that as an administrator at a school, the irony of this particular scene is not lost on me. I have watched this one scene. At American Heritage, we've been using Saxon for many, many years, decades actually. In fact, we've used it so long that there's nobody on our staff presently who remembers being part of the earlier decision to adopt Saxon math. We have loved Saxon, we have benefited from it, and at one point in time, Saxon came out with a new edition that deviated in some important ways from the original core concepts that were foundational to that curriculum. We decided that we were going to stick with the old version as the new versions continue to advance, because there were things about that old version that were just that important to us. But in making that decision to stick with the old version, we also committed to a pathway that would eventually run out. Right? Those books are not being published, they're not being supported. We have actually reached out to Saxon and sought to either acquire a copyright or enter into a licensing agreement on those older versions, and they have indicated to us that they will not do that for a variety of reasons, including the domino effect that happens in other contractual arrangements that they have elsewhere. So this year, I have asked our math department to begin the process of searching for the eventual replacement. The good news is that we have plenty of time still. We're not doing this on the eve of the runway running out. Rather, we are doing this while the current tree is still casting plenty of shade for us to enjoy. And we're using that time carefully so that we can not only find a new curriculum, but more importantly, we can implement it carefully. That second piece, obviously, is the more critical of the two. We are choosing not to see this as a problem, but rather as an opportunity. I can't tell you today what we're going to, because we don't know yet. You probably have more questions than I have answers for right now. But let me share with you a few objectives that we are setting for ourselves. Again, first and foremost, we are committed to treating this not as a problem, but as an opportunity. We are also looking at ways to improve our methodologies and our programs We want to get to the other side of this exercise feeling like we came out ahead, feeling actually grateful that we had all of the extra administrative headache of the exercise. One example of that, actually, we are already beginning the process of looking for ways to use this opportunity to increase the integration between math and science, such that science provides greater context, purpose, and relevance for our students. Ultimately, another one of our major objectives here as well, as I said before, is using this time to transition carefully. Carefully. We don't know what that looks like yet either. That may happen in phases. It may be the kind of thing where we grandfather it up as students get older, and we allow certain people to finish on an older system if they are close to that finish line in our K-12 in our K-12 progression. Now, many of you may be thinking, I want to offer some advice on this question, and we hope you will. So let me tell you how to do that. If you would like to participate, and we welcome that, we will be having lots of focus group work. We will be involving consultants. We will be involving expert minds from BYU. We've already reached out to several of them, and we are yet looking for more. But if you would like to chime in on this question as we take the benefit of time to work through it, please reach out to one of our assistant principals and express your interest or your recommendations. All right, those of you who have been here for a number of years know that we survey you a lot. I'm not going to talk a lot about surveys today, but I'm going to remind you about just one piece of feedback you gave us last year. Actually, you've been giving us this feedback for many years. We ask this question every year: how are we doing in the following curricular categories? And one of the consistent patterns, and I apologize, this text may be too small for some of you to see. I circled the bottom piece there. We asked you to look at all of these curricular areas and tell us whether you thought we were excellent, good, fair, or poor. And as you can see, technology, our technology courses and curriculum, 38 of you told us we were doing just excellent in that area. That is the obvious laggard in this pack here. Some of these numbers as high as 92, 78, 77. We've been hearing that from you for a long time. I'm pleased to report to you today that over the summer we decided, as we continue to use the growth that we experienced, we started this year at 1,160 students. That was an increase of a little over 100. And with growth, we can do a little bit more. We went ahead and committed to 2 FTEs in our technology curricular department. Up until this point, those courses have been taught by people who wear multiple hats, who do that on the side and have a primary job elsewhere. But now we've got 2 folks who are focused on this, one of whom is going to provide us a lot of consistency in the AP Computer Science course, which, by the way, your freshmen can take. I believe that's the only AP course that we can actually admit freshmen to, just because of the way prerequisites work. So as you're mapping out your college experiences or your college preparation rather, and trying to get certain experiences in, you might want to take advantage of that your freshman year. Okay, in the interest of time, I'm going to abbreviate my remarks. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to go ahead and just announce the remainder of this program. First of all, after we finish, you are welcome to stick around, come up and ask questions of myself or any of those who presented this evening. We want to hear from you. We want to see what your questions are. If you want to even huddle around one person in particular, someone else might ask the question that you have. So we welcome that as well. We're next going to hear from Grant Beckwith, our head of school. He will be our concluding speaker. Following Grant's remarks, we will have a closing prayer from Amy Ulrich, who is a new 6th grade teacher here at the school. Grant.
Thank you, Chase. And Shannon, thank you. That's a hard pitch to make, to ask people for money. We appreciate you. That is not easy. Katie, I don't think anyone who hasn't been a parent service organization president knows how much work that is. Chase and assistant principals, nothing happens without you here. You are phenomenal. Late nights, early mornings. Janine stepping into a governing role for this whole thing. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about different campuses. We're going to talk about some things that will affect you right here. But thank you for accepting that big, heavy responsibility. Can we give all of these people a big round of applause? All right, did you see the double rainbows? Was anyone out there with the cameras? Wasn't that amazing? Do we just want that to be like a bubble over our homes and our school? Just protect us, right? We have little ones that we care about. This is Coach Smith. Actually had twins. We know there's a lot going on in your homes, and you care about some things that matter a lot in your homes. And we wish that we could cocoon our children. Here in our homes, we can't do that anymore. It's impossible. What we can do is build foundations for them that help them to be able to prepare and to be ready for the onslaught that's coming for them. Now, if you know me, I don't believe that the world is going to hell in a handbasket. I also don't believe that the world is this yellow line, that it's just always the way it's always been, it's the way it's always going to be. I believe, and we believe, that the world is getting better all the time. It's an amazing place to be alive. There are a parade of horribles, but we live in this accelerating opportunity curve, and it is an amazing time, magnified good and magnified evil. But that's where we are, fullness of times, right? Yes, we have some magnified evil, and we've got to be ahead of it. Please watch this. We sent you the video. All of you can watch that online. A little summer reading. Janine has already told you what our board is reading. If you haven't read President Nelson's biography, especially if you're in the healthcare industry, oh my goodness, his culture in the operating room was 1 in a million. Remarkable. But I love what he taught here, which is that the Lord loves effort, and the Lord loves to reward effort. If you feel like you're failing at home, in your personal life, in your job, whatever it is, you give him a little of your effort and see what happens. And read that book. Sherry Dew is one of the best biographers that I know, and I read biographies in and outside of, the restored. I just love biographies. She is an extraordinary biographer. Okay, Heritage Gardens. This is big news. Pop quiz. What do you see in common with all of these pictures? And how do they make you feel? These are students actually doing yard work in the rain here. Well, they're working with Mother Earth, getting their hands dirty. They're connecting with the source and the soil and the foundation of roots and identity. This is Grace Olmsted. She wrote the book Uprooted, which talks about how our generation is more disconnected from the land than any generation in history, and what that has done to us as human beings. If you want to read a short version of it, read the Deseret magazine. This, by the way, a plug for Deseret magazine, one of the finest, most balanced, and what I would call at least gives a fair shake to conservative and progressive views magazine out there. Subscribe, it's online as well. Anyway, back to Grace Olmsted. So what she says is that part of what she feels to be the identity confusion that we have in this generation is a result of the disconnection that we have from our soil, from our land, from our rural roots. Anyone recognize this farm? This is Michelle Jorgensen's farm, Dr. Michelle Jorgensen, parent at the school. We take our children to this farm, which is about a mile away, every single year for experiential learning, and they love it. And they come back learning how to grow food, farm-to-table kinds of things, health, nutrition. There's animals on this farm, and there's something that they come back with that connects them with their identity, who they are. Dr. Jorgensen came to us recently, Chase and me, and she said, I have a big idea. Why don't we do this right on American Heritage School's campus? Yeah. She's published 4 books. She's a dentist, but she really is a world-class master gardener. That's her love and her passion. And so we said, well, turns out we've got some land. And she said, I've seen that land. And we said, let's do it. So we're going to do heritage gardens. This has been part of our master plan for a long time. You can't see these details. I'm not going to spend a long time. It's too late. You've got families at home. But this is going to be a project that will cut through all of the disciplines at the school. I mean, think about it. It's physical education, it's business, it's biology, it's science. We're going to run a business from these gardens. Students are going to learn through this production that comes from the land about math, about, economy, home economy. Okay, and we're going to begin feeding our children from heritage gardens. Okay. We'll start with high school, salsa, garden smoothies, and we're going to try to turn this business, turn a little profit with this. And the students will be doing this, okay? Please help us. There will be volunteer opportunities. You can contact Michelle. We'll put some of this in email. You don't need to memorize all this. That is Heritage Gardens. Stay tuned for more. We're very excited about it. I'm going to close by just sharing with you what I say when people say, what is the most effective kind of learning and teaching in life? People ask me this a lot. And I say, well, the church has surveyed this question a lot, and what you say is that they have their most remarkable, memorable learning experiences, they say, in FSY or EFY and in seminary. That's interesting. What is it about FSY and EFY? Well, I think what it is that they're invited to have personal religious experiences, private, worshipful experiences through those teachers. But actually, I think there's something that teaches us even better. And I think it's pain. I think that the hardest things in life teach us more than any organized program could ever teach us. And there's no way you can